Welcome to Sports Econ 101. For those of you new to our show, imagine a few guys sitting around a bar having drinks without the drinks, talking business with you and sports with you, the audience listening in. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, well-known sports radio personality Bruce McGowan and Vern Glenn of CBS affiliate KPIX-TV in San Francisco. And on this show, we discuss sports from a business perspective. In addition, we're going to ask sports trivia questions where we're giving away vacations for the first three callers with the correct answer. Our phone number is 888-660-4495. Write that number down, 888-660-4495, because you're going to use that number to answer the trivia questions for 3 vacations given away during each commercial break. That's right, we're giving away 9 vacations during this show. And the vacations are not sponsored by the radio station, but by Lighthouse Resort and Marina, which is located 1 hour northeast of San Francisco. The vacations are free. Their only request, a $75 cleaning fee to cover housekeeping expenses. Check them out at lighthouseforfun.com. We're also going to give away to the third caller on the first question, a $25 restaurant certificate that could be used anywhere in the country. And today's show, we're going to have a special guest, Scott Salsgiver. I hope I pronounced that right. And he's a personal trainer. The reason I'm having him on is that there is a football player who spends over $400,000 a year on his body, and we're going to find out why. We're going to also talk about protecting athletes. Some quarterbacks in the NFL even say that it's protecting them too much. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Also touch on some of the worst sports trades in history. And players playing hurt, are they being selfish? Athletes who made more money after they retired. George Foreman, for example. And this segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by IRA Services Trust Company, providing self-directed retirement accounts with more choices, diversification, and among the lowest fees in the industry. Now, I personally use them to hold my diversified IRA. So you should check them out at iraservices.com. Don't touch that dial because you're listening to Sports Econ 101. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce. But actually, Bruce McGowan's not here today, but Vern Glenn, my other co-host, is here today.
Well, what do you see as a replacement?
Oh, yeah, big stuff.
I love Bruce, but this guy's better looking.
And stubbier. No offense, Bruce.
And in better shape.
In better shape. Well, there's a reason for that, because our special guest is Scott Salsgiver, who is a personal trainer, and he's going to talk to us about spending a lot of money, or just athletes who spend a lot of money on their bodies, because there was an article here that we saw that there's an NFL player, James Harrison.
Linebacker. Yep.
Exactly. And this guy spends, up to $500,000 a year on his body. And we ain't talking about just eating lobster, okay? Because we're talking about taking care of his body. And Scott, you've seen the article here. Take it away.
Yeah, I had a great chance to read over the article, and James Harrison, he's a perfect example for a topic like this. I mean, we're taking a guy that's been a long career now in the NFL, 36 years old, weighs 242 pounds, and he's playing like, he started a few years ago. Where's the longevity coming from? Well, it's coming from after the season, what these players are doing to stay in the game, staying involved. And we're talking, $500,000, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more to stay involved.
Yeah, we're not talking steroids at all. This is just strictly, the stretching, the massages,
We're talking about new science. We're talking about, and James Harrison said it the best, my body helps me make money. If he doesn't have a body for this, he's not going to
No income.
No career, etc.
And let's mention he's playing a position where it's equivalent to, 50 head-on collisions a game? Yeah.
So, sure.
Yeah, so guys like James Harrison, they're investing in things like hyperbaric chambers, and these are pressure chambers. And most people are going to think of these chambers in dive situations, situations where guys are coming up from scuba diving who have the bends, who need to get their oxygen levels right. Well, guys like James Harrison are investing in these things, and these are not cheap. We're talking upwards of $18,000 for at-home chamber. Okay. And these things, they come hard body, they come soft shells. What it does is it allows the body to reach a higher level of oxygen into the muscles. It mobilizes stem cells, the recovery of damaged organs, tissues, all these things are what these guys are reaping the benefits of in these chambers.
Okay, and they say even he said it's not really excessive because he earned over $23 million for the 4 previous seasons. So yeah, if he spends a few hundred thousand dollars a year in chiropractors, acupuncture, massage therapy, it's worth it.
Well, he's reinvesting in himself, right, Scott?
Yeah.
May I call you S squared?
You may.
Yeah. And I've seen these things. It kind of looks like a gigantic, oversized test tube that you kind of like slide yourself into and you close it up.
You simply climb in, and like I said, there's a couple different ones. Most of the NFL players, they have the soft shell ones. They're going to sit in. It's like a giant sleeping bag. Then they're going to zip it in over them. They got a gauge at the bottom. It's going to change the pressure, and then they're going to sit in there for anywhere from maybe an hour, 2.5 hours to 5 hours.
Because their head sticks out, right?
No, their head.
They're completely enclosed.
You know what? I got too much claustrophobia. I'm done.
It's an entire
But it's glass. You can see through.
Oh, that
Yeah.
helps. Okay, that helps.
Yeah.
Right, and they have to build up a tolerance to sit in it for a while. But we're talking like you do a simple Google search on these chambers, and you're gonna find all the big names in the NFL now. They all have one.
Honestly, 18,000 really doesn't sound like that much. I know a personal sauna can run 5,000 plus, and so if this is that specialized, that's really not that much money.
It's not. It's a good investment. These guys are on the road, so yes, they are renting them when they're on the road too, because they're going to climb into them after games, post games, sometimes even pre games if they feel the need to. So that's where some of the prices are going to pay in when they rent things like this. But it's funny doing a little research, and I have to thank some of my colleagues even that these chambers have been around. Bill Romanowski was one of the first.
I was just about to mention Bill Romanowski because I was covering the Raiders when he was finishing up his career with them. And this is before I even knew that these guys did this outside of the game. Romanowski finishes playing a game, and usually after the game, we go in our locker rooms with our little microphones and get our post-game interviews, and then we turn around and leave. Well, we're finishing up with Romo, and he's not even dressed yet. We're like, man, what's he going to do? He's just going to hang out. Anyway, in comes this masseuse with a table, folds it out over in the trainer's room, and I go, well, Romo, what's going on? Oh, it's my trainer. She works over, my body after every game because I get it ready for the next week. And I go, wow, what's something like that cost? And then he told us that he spends a couple $100,000 a year just on getting his body back.
And some of these people, they like in this case, James, he has people fly in from New York and Arizona. I mean, I guess you pick somebody who's really good, you stay with them.
Well, things like that become a comfort level too. I mean, even in personal training, people tend to stick with their personal trainers. You build a bond with them. Those people, they're your trainers. They're looking after your body. They see things in your body that new trainers that are new to you aren't going to see, for example, when you're on the road. So that's why they're flying them in, is these guys understand them. They've been with them for the years. They know their injuries. They know what works for them the best.
Well, that's a good point. If they know him well enough, then they know exactly the specifics with the injuries. Yeah, I don't know when he has time because it says here, getting stretched maybe an hour or so, ice tub, hot tub, cold tub, maybe another extra 30 or 40 minutes, then massage maybe another 2 to 4 hours per day.
Well, 8-hour day. If you break it down, you got a couple hours of practice on the field. Okay. You got meetings. That could be another hour and a half. So you got what's the problem?
Yeah,
spend the rest of your day treating your body and then go home.
That sounds good to me. Where do I sign up?
Right.
I just gained another 100 pounds
and Scott, as close knit as these NFLers are, word of mouth just kind of permeates where maybe somebody on another team that maybe played with them in college, hey man, that worked for you, man, I'm going to try it, and then just kind of spread. Even a couple of blocks away from the posh studios where this radio show emanates from, Frank Gore gets worked over by a couple of people, therapists that are just like 2 blocks over. In fact, they go to his house 3 times a week down in Santa Clara and work him over.
Well, you wonder how many injuries they don't get because they have this stuff going on with them, right?
Well, that's a great point, but also on some of these other things that I got to look into, for example, low-level laser therapy. And this is something that you're looking at possibly $3,000 to have treatment at home. And again, I'm talking mostly at the home stuff because we're talking at the professional athletic level. These guys, let's face it, they're going to pay for everything to be convenient. And what this does is this uses a wide range of different wavelengths, and you can have what's considered a cold laser all the way to a warm feeling of a laser working in on the tissues, and it's going to give you some heat. And what that does is it's pushing away inflammation and swelling. Now, the research I looked into this on, this kind of treatment, this low-level laser therapy, it can take a 3 to 4 week injury that a player got, let's say Monday Night Football, have him playing Sunday again.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Man, that's like an ultra kind of ultrasound type treatment.
Or you're talking about Adrian Peter before we went on air. You're talking about Adrian Peterson.
I think that's the freakiest thing of all. Yeah. Adrian tore up his knee. You figure, okay, that's a year.
Yeah.
Has surgery to repair it. Comes back way ahead of schedule.
Sure.
He's not just productive. He almost sets the single season rushing record.
Yeah.
And becomes the MVP of the league.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't believe that even happened. And he wasn't like Franco Harris running out of bounds. He was running through people.
Yeah. Well, I wonder, gosh, you see some of these old poor linemen with their knees just getting destroyed. I wonder, if they had known about this for years.
Oh, sure.
They're not walkers anymore.
Sign of the times.
Well, and that's the beautiful thing. I mean, technology these days, it's skyrocketing. So you talk about a level playing field. Well, the level playing field is your access to your technology these days. And that's what's keeping it at a level playing field is these players are seeking the ultimate therapies, the chambers, masseuse, chiropractors. I mean, the chiropractors for the teams, they're doing upwards of 30 to 50 sessions in 1 week on these players.
See, the day will come, Edward. I mean, I'm dating myself. It'll be like those old episodes of Star Trek when, Bones, he brings out his little device and
that's right.
kind of waves it over the energy and goes, okay, you're cleared.
Okay. All right, we are going to cut to our first commercial break, and here is the first trivia question. And again, the theme is sports injuries, which is kind of interesting.
Okay.
We have Scott in the studio here with us.
S squared.
S squared, yes. Okay. This is an easy one. Who effectively ended Joe Theismann's career on Monday Night Football? The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouseforfun.com. Call 888-660-4495 to answer this question. Who effectively ended Joe Theismann's career on Monday Night Football? 888-660-4495. Make sure to include your name, email address, speak slowly, spell out your email 1 letter at a time. Don't touch that dial because Sports Econ 101 will be right back. Excellent.
God, I'll never forget that.
Oh, I know.
Wow.
Remember that? Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn, and in this case, we have Scott Salsgiver with
S squared.
S squared
with us.
Okay. When we cut to the first commercial break, we asked this trivia question regarding sports injuries. Who effectively ended Joe Theismann's career on Monday Night Football?
Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence, number 56.
Sounds just like Howard Cosell.
As if he was really here.
That's amazing. Okay.
I might mention as soon as it happened, he was the first one to frantically signal to the silence, hey, get somebody out of here. Something's wrong.
Yeah. Oh, devastating hit. And in fact, when Ken Norton Jr. nailed Napoleon McCallum, it was a Raiders 49ers game, and his leg bent completely backwards.
Yep.
I had happened
right out of the socket.
Oh my God! I was playing about a week earlier. I had played basketball and I rolled my ankle, and so I was just watching the game with my whole leg up, the same leg, and I'm looking at this injury going, and I'm feeling the pain. Okay, let's get into the next thing here. Even quarterbacks are saying that the NFL officials protect them too much. This is from quarterbacks, okay? Like Brett Favre said, of course this was taken a little while ago, he appreciates that the NFL's concern for his safety. Still, even he thinks the league and the officials sometimes go too far to protect the quarterbacks. So, imagine how the pass rushers feel when, the NFL navigates the fine line between, the fact that you can hit them versus not hit them. I mean, it kind of does take away from the game, but of course, if you get your quarterbacks hurt, it's going to be half the game right there.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the face value of tickets these days for these NFL games, but these people aren't paying, hundreds of thousands of dollars to go out to a 49er game, and I mean, no offense, I don't want to go see Scott Tolzien.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. I want to see Colin Kaepernick play.
Well, and of course, when Smith got hurt.
Alex Smith.
Yeah, thank you. See, I forgot his name already. Who knew about Colin?
Nobody. Yeah.
But then he came in and he sure did a good job.
Oh, well, and then he changed the whole position. But yeah, did you know that the Oakland Raiders are the first ones to instill quarterbacks to wear the red protective jersey in practice, When you wear a red jersey in practice, it means don't touch him if you wear red. It's that. I think if you wear black or it's a gray or something like that, then he's on like limited contact. It's all different colors mean different things. But when you're wearing red and the quarterbacks wear red and the kickers wear red, not supposed to touch him.
I can understand that. I mean, all you have to do is get one guy to get hurt in practice, because that happens.
And let's face it. I mean, quarterback's the most visible position. It's the most important position out there. And if the quarterback goes down, then it just throws the whole thing off the railing. I mean, these guys game plan every single day, leading right up to the game for this particular person to execute the play. And when he's out, I know it's next man up, but the game plan maybe wasn't designed for that next quarterback.
One guy was a runner, one
exactly.
guy was not. In fact, this is kind of your alley, Scott. So guys nowadays, I think they're much bigger and stronger than they used to be, but the body still gets injured. Weak places like the necks and the ankles, because there's not blood. Is it true? There's not much blood going to those.
The blood's going there, but what it is a lot of the injury spots these days. Next example, take a look at the hardware that these guys are wearing, the equipment they're wearing. Are their necks vulnerable? And in a classic example, we're talking quarterbacks. They have to have loose heads. Their heads have to swivel. They need to see the playing field at all times. Yeah. They're vulnerable there. You take guys like Romanowski back in the day, working linebacker positions. They've got the neck pads. They know they're coming in. They know they're going to put their head down and hit somebody. Yeah. So I think a lot of that's going to go into what position they're playing, what they're expected to do out of that position.
And there's only so much you can do with ankles and knees.
Right. I mean, you're vulnerable no matter what football down there.
Speaking of vulnerable, let's talk about I guess the sexy story behind the 49ers, and that is Michael Crabtree. He was the number one target of Colin Kaepernick. He was targeted 100 times last year, and he was scheduled to be targeted maybe even twice as much. And then in practice, a complete tear of his Achilles tendon. Now, I've done that in the early 90s. That cost me a year.
Yeah.
And I know Jim Harbaugh came in with, well, we're not ruling him out for the year. Well, I am.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, that a guy like that in a position where you're in your thinnest position that they have on the team to be out, I have to think it's got to affect, though. I don't care who you throw out there. I think it's got to affect just how you scheme.
That's a game changer for sure. I mean, you hit it right on. Kaepernick, that was his favorite receiver to go to. And the Achilles, you're looking very, very at least 6 to 8 months. They're saying he's going to come back, might finish the season with the Niners. Fingers crossed. We discussed it earlier in the topics of all the wonderful things these NFL players have access to. Do I foresee some chambers in his future? Yes. Do I see maybe some infrared laser treatment? Yes. Infrared saunas?
Well,
yes.
They do everything.
Oh yeah, he's gonna have the best medical treatment money can buy. But the bottom line, I mean, atrophy's going to set in that leg. One calf's going to be smaller than the other. Maybe not as strong. I mean, all these factors are going to come into play that he doesn't even know about yet. And there's going to be that first time. I know these are tough guys, but there's going to be that first route where he just lets it go. The first go route. Wow, is it going to snap on me? Is it going? It's got to be in the back of your mind. Even though that cord will be it'll be stronger than it was before he ripped it in the first place. And they surgically repaired it in less than an hour.
Well, I know, if I remember correctly, bones heal faster. Or get stronger with
Twice
the break.
as strong.
Sure, it's strong, but does a tendon though?
Oh yeah, because
really?
it's
suture it
just imagine this shade. You cut it in half and it rolls right on up.
Yeah.
You pull it down and you suture it with the other one, but you just reinforce it. I mean it is not it ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, I remember when I rolled my ankle. I was out for a year, and when I came back, and I was I didn't have to. I mean that was basketball, nothing like football, and it was like very very touch and go with being sensitive. And you're right about the calf. One bigger than the other.
If I'm A.J. Jenkins, the top pick last year, I'm thinking, boy, now or never, man. This is my time to really show him something.
Yeah, that's a good point. They even said here for the last part of this, says from your high school officiating days, so we're talking from an official standpoint, basically you're told don't call a foul unless you're 100% sure it's a foul. But in a player safety, as opposed to being 100% sure, it's more like if you're in doubt, throw a flag. Because they said if we do make an error, we want to do it on the player safety part. Of course, that kind of ruins the game a little bit, but you have to second guess these guys.
Well, in this day and age of injuries and freak accidents and penalties and injuries from penalties and in the sue happy society, I mean, you just got to be careful.
Well, I think a big part of it too is preservation of the game. You want to see the NFL players last and full careers, but not only that, but you've got families at home watching these NFL players, and then you start seeing some of these horrific injuries. That's going to keep the youth off the fields. Parents aren't going to be as likely to let their kids get into Pop Warner, let them go in through high school football, play some college football. So what we're looking for is we're not only looking to preserve our athletes at the professional level, but to preserve the sport and what people are really enjoying about the sport. And that is to go out there, to enjoy putting the pads on, hitting one another. But that's why we have these rules and regulations.
Okay.
Without them, we fall apart.
And that leads right into this. The truth about players playing injured. So, do most players attempt to play primarily for selfish reasons? Right?
Well, there's so many factors involved, huh, Scott? I mean, if I'm in the last year of my contract and they just drafted a guy to take my position, and he's going to play if I can't go, I mean, I'll do anything to stay on the field, just as long as I'm not hurting the team.
And that's a big point. Okay, playing for your teammates is a concern as well, and that means doing whatever it takes on the field. You know, the pressure to play is constant. You know, you're getting this big money, and you're expected to play. But if you're going to hurt your team, I mean, only you know if you're hurt. In some, you know, for obviously if you do a Napoleon McCallum type thing or Joe Theismann.
It's a tough position to be in because you mean the more you make, the more problems you got. They say. And you're making a high salary or a high visible guy, and then you get hurt. Maybe you'll hurt more than you let on. But I mean, but there's, you know, maybe the wife that looks good on your arm, you know, you used to that lifestyle. All of a sudden, those checks aren't coming in, and then you see you later. I mean, it happens all the time.
And concussions are a separate issue because players used to almost always play the following week after concussion.
And speaking of concussions, that chamber comes into play because I know guys who used to play in the league that go to a place up in Sacramento in those chambers and like to keep their memory intact.
Right. So they've done a lot of research lately on the hyperbaric chambers and what it does for brain trauma, injuries, etc. They've tried it on a few pilots. They haven't had anything to debunk it, but they really haven't had any solid evidence yet that it actually helps with the trauma either. So there's a lot of interesting science behind it. They're still digging deep on that. I personally believe that this could be the future for the brain trauma in sports like football, etc. But, you know, you're out there, the brain's getting rattled, concussions, I know I've had my share. They're not fun. They are to be taken seriously. And I think at that point, especially if we're talking football, players need to wise up. They need to make sure that they're ready to get back on the field. Because not only are you messing with, is your team going to lose the game? Are they not going to get to the championship? You need to start thinking about, is this my last game? Is this my last season?
Yeah, and if you're out there listening and questioning it at all, throw on a helmet, put your head down, and have a car come by at about 20 miles an hour and hit an ear hole you right there, and then tell me if you get up and see how tough you are, because that simulates an NFL impact.
Okay, we're going to cut to our second commercial break. Here's the trivia question: who headbutted the padded wall in the end zone, ending up in the hospital with a sprained neck in 1997? You guys remember that? First three callers, the correct answer, win a free 3-day 2-night stay at Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-660-4495 to answer this question. Who headbutted the padded wall in the end zone, ending up in the hospital with a sprained neck in 1997? Again, 888-660-4495. Make sure to include your name, email address, spell it slowly, one letter at a time. Don't touch that dial because Sports Econ will be right with Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back.
God, it was an NFL quarterback. It was a quarterback.
It was.
Was it Bubby Brister?
No.
Oh.
I should have said yes. That way you wouldn't be up too late. Okay, and away we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn, and we're in the studio here with Scott Salsgiver. And Bruce McGowan is off today. And Vern is still thinking about this trivia question.
God.
Who headbutted the padded wall in the end zone, ending up in the hospital with a sprained neck in 1997? And if I remember correctly, it was because after he made a touchdown, he was all excited. And instead of just, giving a high five to somebody in the padded wall, he sticks his head right in the padded wall. Answer.
Gosh, man.
Initials GF. You'll get it now.
Gus Frerotte?
Gus Frerotte.
Wow.
That is correct.
Gus Frerotte.
Boy, can you imagine?
Washington Redskins.
Yeah, that's right. Imagine telling the
Number 12.
coach, or telling everybody what happened to you. How'd you get hit hard? Well, kind of, but I sort of did it to myself. Okay.
Man.
How about
Jeremy Affelt slicing his finger, taking a steak knife to separate two frozen patties while he was cooking out in the backyard?
Oh,
wow.
Or was it Kevin Mitchell who was afraid of spiders and he woke up in a nightmare and he stepped through, he broke it, he did something, he cut himself on a glass table because he had a nightmare. And he ran through the middle of the night and he
freak accident. Yeah.
Or who was Mike Ivey, the hunting knife. Remember he played for the Giants and he did slice something. I mean, these guys gotta be. You have to walk around with kid gloves, or you have to have a personal trainer like Scott to walk around and make sure you don't get hurt.
They got stuff in their contracts on things that they just can't do. No skiing.
No skiing, snowboarding.
Water skiing, snowboarding.
Motorcycles now. Wasn't it Jeff Kent that went down on a motorcycle back in his day?
Yeah. Then he said, oh, I was washing my car and fell off my truck.
Sliding around on his feet.
Yeah.
What was we talked about this a few shows earlier. Cal Ripken. I mean, he played basketball in the off season, pick up games and stuff like that. And he never got hurt. He was one of the few.
Yeah.
One of the few. Okay. How about this? Worst trades in sports history. So we're going to start at the bottom here. And again, I know there's going to be a million more than this, but Kevin Garnett to the Boston Celtics. Remember that? He played for the Timberwolves.
Yep.
So he was exchanged for 5 players, 2 first-round draft picks, and cash considerations. The 7-for-1 exchange marks the biggest NBA trade for one player, and I guess it's probably him who I think he wanted to get out, right?
Oh, sure, yeah, because
the Timberwolves weren't going in.
Well, he knew Allen. He knew they were going to get Ray Allen. He knew he knew they were going to build a superpower in Boston, and he won a championship.
And you know what? I love Ray Allen, but you know what? I think he's getting to the end. If you've been noticing him play recently, he's just not hitting the shots.
Okay.
How old is he now?
Hey, if Ray Allen was here, we're looking and go, hey Edward, hey, they throw me in there. They tell me, hey, make 3-point shots. They put it in my hands. I make the shot.
He absolutely
does
the best he can. And like I said, I love the guy. But again, we talked about this before. It's like when I love Willie Mays, right? But toward the end of his career, like you said, trying to.
Yeah, but Ray Allen's not going to fall over into the stands trying to catch a pass. I mean, in the case of Willie Mays, he fell in the outfield trying to make a routine catch. I mean, that was sad. But boy, I mean, Ray had.
You've been watching the games though. I mean,
sure.
Is Ray? He's not up to the same Ray. I mean, he used to just.
Well, no, I mean the regular Ray would be in the starting 5, but he knows he's long in the tooth. But still, hey, I mean, hey, if somebody's paying me good money to make threes when I gotta have it, then I'm gonna do it.
There for good money.
Yeah.
Make a fool out of myself.
Yeah.
And I can hit a 3-pointer. Just foul me as I'm doing a layup, and I'll make one. Okay. Wayne Gretzky to the Los Angeles Kings. Remember the great one?
Oh yeah.
In fact,
Edmonton Oilers.
That's it. Greatest hockey player of all time, and he learned about his trade just hours after winning the Stanley Cup with the Oilers in 1988. So he agreed to the exchange so long as his teammates Mike Krushelnyski, that's what it is, and Marty McSorley would join him in Los Angeles. And that name, like Marty McSorley, I remember that. He was
got in a lot of fights.
He got in a lot of fights, and in fact, they had Brashear, I think it was, a real nasty one in the year 2000. And if McSorley thought that he was going to come back, if he thought that he wasn't going to get suspended, McSorley was sorely mistaken.
Oh, nice.
Is that a tongue twister for you?
Nice line, host.
You like that?
Yeah.
Okay. How about this? Green Bay Packers Brett Favre was traded by the Atlanta Falcons for running back Tony Smith.
To the Green Bay Packers.
Green Bay Packers,
yeah. And the rest is history. And it got here Kobe Bryant. Okay, at age 17. He was drafted out of high school in the 13th round. Yeah, that was a good choice.
to the Charlotte Hornets. But he had another team in mind, so he refused to play for them, for any other team but the Lakers. And the Hornets exchanged Bryant for Laker. Who did they trade?
You got me.
Vlade Divac.
Vlade Divac.
Yep.
Wow.
And what I thought was kind of interesting was
I just saw a documentary on Vlade Divac.
really a documentary on it.
Yeah. But well, the documentary was two brothers, and it was on Vlade Divac and the kid from Croatia.
I remember seeing that. I can't remember his name.
But anyway, they played on the Yugoslavia national team together, and then they had all of that upheaval where Croatia broke away from Yugoslavia, and then it was just there was a great
them, though?
because Croatia Croatia had broken away and they had developed its own identity and they had their own flag.
Yeah.
But the Yugoslavian team had won the European Championship.
Okay.
And so they were all celebrating with the Yugoslavian flag, and then somebody came out with a Croatian flag, and then just he wasn't even thinking. Vlade grabbed the flag and tossed it aside. Yeah, and then that was the end of the friendship.
Yeah.
And then Divac didn't even have a chance to really kind of apologize. It's just because the kid tragically died in a car accident when he was 28.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, for the audience out there, this is one that stumped both of us because I cannot remember the player, but I think he was a good three-pointer.
Oh, great three-pointer.
That's right. That part
Petar Stojakovic?
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Yeah. Petar Stojakovic. Yeah, they both got drafted in the NBA. Vlade went to the Lakers. He goes to the Portland Trail Blazers. Doesn't get a chance to play. Rick Adelman was the head coach. Couldn't give him minutes. So he's traded to the New Jersey Nets. He takes off.
Yeah.
Hits everything. He's an all-star. He's great.
Yeah. I remember.
28 years young. Bam.
I forgot about him dying in a car accident.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it was the off season. He was in Europe, and he was asleep in the car, and his girlfriend was driving. There was a collision with a truck. Died.
So, one thing about Kobe Bryant, I was thinking about Kobe. He grew up in Philadelphia and played for L.A. Allen Iverson grew up in L.A. and played for Philadelphia. It's kind of interesting how they went. It's kind of flip flop like that. Okay.
Actually, Allen Iverson grew up in Virginia.
Wait a minute, then. Who am I thinking about?
I don't know.
How about Dr. J? He played in Philadelphia.
He did.
I don't know where he grew up, but really,
Allen Iverson
was,
grew up in Virginia Beach, Virginia. That was the big thing. Iverson, he had to serve jail time because he was involved in a fight at a bowling alley, and it took the governor of Virginia to grant him clemency, and that allowed him to be able to go and play for Georgetown and John Thompson. And then he went from Georgetown to the Philadelphia 76ers.
Wow.
The Allen Iverson story.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's kind of sad because he doesn't have much money now.
No, yeah, he's bankrupt. Yeah.
All the entourage.
Yeah.
We have about 50 guys with him. Okay, so we were talking about how Kobe said, the only one I'm going to play for is the Lakers. Do you remember John Elway getting? Remember who drafted him? This is easy.
Well, the Baltimore Colts drafted him, but he told them not to do it.
Yeah.
He said, "Hey man, if you draft me, I'm not going to play for you. I'm going to play baseball for the New York Yankees, who had drafted him."
Oh, that's right.
And in fact, he had gone to camp.
Yeah.
He got to camp with the Yankees. He was a great left-hitting outfielder, and somehow, some way, they were able to make a trade happen, and he became a Denver Bronco, and that was it.
It's like that president who said, he said, if I'm nominated, I will not run. If I'm voted in, I won't serve.
I will not serve. Yeah. To this day, John Elway's most memorable loss, the big game, 1982.
Oh wait, the 82.
Cal Stanford.
Oh, of course.
The play.
Yeah, of course, the play. In fact, a friend of mine was a middle linebacker for Cal, but during the play, he couldn't see it because he was on the sidelines, right? Because he wouldn't be playing at the time. So he goes, well, what's going on? What's going on?
Crazy.
How about Jeff Bagwell to the Houston Astros?
Mm.
He used to be with the Boston Red Sox. And he got
that worked out well for him.
It sure did. He got traded for Larry Anderson, Who?
Yeah,
37-year-old relief pitcher
Yeah.
who went on to pitch only 22 innings and 1 save for the Sox. That's a killer. Okay, and of course you got Babe Ruth to the Yankees. We all know about that one. How about Nolan Ryan to the Anaheim Angels? You remember? You know what's funny? He played so many years, and he actually got a World Series ring. When did Nolan Ryan get his World Series ring?
He was with the Mets.
He was with the Mets in
Yeah,
1969.
he was with the New York Mets.
It's a amazing Mets. Very
That was
good.
that was the year the Mets won, the Knicks won, and the Jets won.
That's right.
Their individual sports,
That was awesome.
all against Baltimore teams. And then the next year, all the Baltimore teams won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I remember. I was a big.
Look at Scott, just looking at me, amazed.
Like,
Oh,
yeah.
oh, Vern, the knowledge.
That's what. Well, Scott's a young man here. Okay, Herschel Walker, the Minnesota Vikings.
That's right.
Behold, they said the largest trade in NFL history.
7 guys, is that right?
18 players and draft picks. Sure, they include draft picks.
Draft picks.
So he was with Dallas Cowboys. He
Mhm.
traded from the Cowboys in exchange for draft picks. Sparked the Cowboys dynasty in the 1990s.
How about, you'll love this, Scott, did 5,000 sit-ups and push-ups a day. Hardly ever lifted weights.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Hardly ever lifted weights. He was a freak.
If it works for you, it works for you.
Yeah, man.
You gotta find what works.
Watching
though,
him run
and stick
though,
with it.
he kind of like a Bo Jackson type. He kind of run over people.
I think Herschel Walker, outside of Jim Brown, the greatest collegiate running back. I think.
Oh, for Georgia.
Yeah.
Right? Yes, yeah, I remember. Yeah, if if a player's really good, you have to remember what college you went to. Notre Dame, John Montana. Otherwise, some of these guys, you go, where'd they come from? But they made a big.
Should have won the Heisman Trophy his freshman year, which would have been really unheard of.
I remember.
But it went to George Rogers of University of South Carolina. In fact, Georgia played South Carolina that year, and Georgia won because of Herschel Walker.
Wow, guys, you know what? We're kind of cut out here. So we're going to cut to our third and final trivia question. Which 1985 St. Louis Cardinal player got his leg caught in the automatic turf machine? The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-660.
Whitey Herzog's boys.
That's right.
Mhm.
660-4495 to answer this question. Which 1985 St. Louis Cardinal player got his leg caught in the automatic tarp machine? Make sure to include your name, email address, speak slowly, spell out your email letter one letter at a time. Your email, spell it 1 letter at a time. And don't touch that dial because Sports Econ 101 will be back for this answer and some closing comments. And if you remember, he used to play with the Mets also. That's a little hint.
Mm.
Yeah, I thought you'd get that one right away.
St. Louis Cardinal.
In fact, it kept
Keith
them out of the
Hernandez?
No. Yeah, it kept them out of the playoffs. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with the famous Vern Glenn and the all now famous sports guy, sports trainer, Scott Salsgiver. Boy, I got that name down pat. Okay, on our third trivia question, we asked this question. Which 1985 St. Louis Cardinal player got his...
Oh, 85. Oh,
that's what I said.
okay, all right, 85.
Caught the automatic tarp machine. He's thinking.
Man, outside of Keith Hernandez, I got nothing.
Vince Coleman.
Vince Coleman.
Yeah. I knew that you were going to know that one.
One of Whitey Herzog's fastest guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he gets caught in the automatic tarp machine. That was terrible. Just real quickly here. Athletes who made more money after they retired. George Foreman.
Oh, sure.
With the grill. Jim Brown. Right?
Jim Brown.
Doing the movies. Nolan Ryan. Doesn't he own the Texas Rangers
He's
now?
president of the team.
The Rock. Gotta get
Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson.
I love his dad, Rocky Johnson. He was my favorite wrestler because that's all real.
You know, Dwayne Johnson was born in Hayward.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
He's a local guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Born in Hayward. Yep.
Magic Johnson.
Magic. Okay.
And of course Michael Jordan. See, a lot of these guys, they with all of their endorsements.
Oh, the endorsements. Yeah.
They're gonna make it just a ton.
Thank you, Phil Knight. Yeah.
Phil Knight.
Owner of Nike.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Any last? You got 30 seconds. Actually, you know what? Don't have 30 seconds. Okay. Here's our thoughts for the day.
Take us on home.
Okay. Here's thoughts for the day. Hint: be careful what goes on your iPod. Here I am at the gym, and I'm on pull-up number 12, listening to the theme of Rocky, and on comes a song from Barry Manilow.
Oh.
I tell you, I turned into a spaghetti and dropped like a rock.
Wow.
Then you know how some people like to sing to their tunes, right? The next week, I'm on push-up number 300. Okay, I'm on push-up number 3. And on comes I Feel Pretty from South Pacific. I'm thinking,
what's it doing on your iPod in the first
I was going to
place?
say, Vern, did you sabotage me? Okay, so
Maybe you grabbed your wife's iPod
maybe.
instead.
But I tell you, I almost got beat up by a 12-year-old. Good thing that the song I Enjoy Being a Girl from the Flower Drum song didn't come on. That would have been terrible. Okay, tune in next week to Sports
Turning
Econ.
your man card.
Yeah, tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and giving away vacations for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best of Sports Econ 101. We'll see you next week. Okay. I seriously though, I literally was I was on
Well,
my 15th
you've
or
heard
like
the
a
music
15th
play.
pull up, and suddenly it comes on, oh man,
Oh, man. That's...